BobalosRex here. Today's video is a lore rant, and it's a lore rant about Paladins and the light, and what it means to be a Paladin, and how we get Paladins for everyone. Now, I'm not on a Paladin, but that's because I've only done this quest on one toon, and I gotta talk about this. So, Paladins have been brought up recently because of the new tier quest line. And we're gonna read what Traverd has to say here. To have seen Tyr's memories, to see him now standing before me, I have a new purpose now. What do you mean? As the last member of Tyr's guard, my purpose is now to assist the aspects in resurrecting Tyr. I will first go and regroup with the Silver Hand. As followers of Tyr, they will want to help. My new vigil, if the aspects will allow it, will be to guard Tyr's new form and be ready to assist him again. They try to bring assist again if they try to bring him to life again. Now we're going to talk about Paladins. So let me switch over to a Paladin, and I'll tell you how this video is going to go. First, we're going to talk about Paladins themselves, kind of what it means. We're going to talk about the races that still need to become Paladins, and then we're going to talk about kind of what they need to do in game for us to get Paladins, and hopefully soon we actually get it. So let's get into it. So, what is a Paladin? Many people think Paladin is as simple as if you can be a priest and you can be a warrior, you can be a Paladin. And I kind of agree. Now, in the lore, it's a lot more complex than that. Now, there are a lot of different orders of Paladins. But one of the first ones that we've seen in gameplay in the lore were actually the Silver Hand, which Travard is a part of. And there is a way, a simple way, that we can just have Paladins for everyone. As in, the Silver Hand recruits, and we get more Paladins. As simple as that. Because the main thing with Paladins is you have faith in the light, and you want to use that here. We can see it here. Paladins are heavily armored fighters and defenders who use holy magic to heal wounds and combat evil. Alright? Meanwhile, priests are well-rounded healers. You know, they're the clothy. Paladins are the big fighters, right? That's usually how it's been established. You know, the original, the Silver Hand, was started by a priest. He got some warriors and knights together. Well, knights, aka warriors. And was like, hey, I'm going to teach you about the light. And then they were like, the warriors were like, bro, I can use the light and be a warrior? Paladin. Alright? Now, it is debatable whether these humans are the first Paladins, because, and we're going to talk about now the races that can't be Paladins. Let's get into it. Night Elves. We've seen Night Elves priests be essentially priestesses of Elune. It is, you could argue that if there were knights of Elune, that they would have been Paladins. But we haven't really seen that. But it would be cool, and I think that that would be a cool thing. But currently, Night Elves, one of the non-Paladin races here. You got Gnomes. You got Worgen, that can't be Paladins, but everyone can be priests and warriors, remember that. You know, we have Pandaren, that cannot be Paladins. Alright? Void Elves cannot be Paladins. You know, Kul Tirans and Mechagnomes on the Alliance. Then we have Orcs, Undead, Darkspear Trolls, Goblins and Pandaren on the Horde, as well as Nightborne, Highmountain Tauren, Mag'har Orcs, and Vulpera. So the Horde, as you can see here, the Horde is very much lacking on Paladins, where the Alliance has got a decent amount. Alright? So, it'd be very easy for Blizzard to come in and be like, Silverhand's recruiting, everyone can be Paladins, and bada boom. We got Paladins for everyone. But I would also like some nuance to some of the races being Paladins, and one of the key features of a Paladin is they get a unique Paladin charger. They have made it, Blizzard has made it so that no race, okay, that can be a Paladin has the same charger as another. It used to be dwarves, humans would have the same charger. And even when Draenei were first added, they didn't have the Elec. Alright? And Blood Elves were the first to get a unique charger. They got the Thalassian charger. But then Blizzard started adding the unique models to the chargers, and then they made it so that every Paladin has a unique charger for their race. One of the key features for gameplay of a Paladin is this unique charger. So to me, we could get Paladins added early in a patch. Be like, Paladins for all, but the key thing would be those mounts. Alright? And then the lore for the different Paladins, like an Elune Paladin for Night Elves, Loa Paladins for Trolls, that stuff can come later. But the mounts would have to be there. That's going to be the main brunt of this video. I'm going to be talking about Paladin mounts. Then I'm going to be talking about the lore of the different races and how they could get Paladins with a little twist. But gameplay-wise, they're still going to be Paladins. And to me, like I said, the key is the mount in distinguishing your Paladins. Because say you want to be a Night Elf Paladin, but you don't want to be Argent Dawn, Silverhand, that kind of light. You can dress yourself up and maybe Ardent wield stuff and try to do that spin of an Elune Paladin. And I think that'd be cool. Alright? But you can do that. You can dress yourself up. But until we get actual class skins, you're still going to be working as a Paladin. And for me, the key to make it to sell, if you really wanted to be an Elune Paladin, would be the mount. So let's get started with these mounts. And yeah, I've already been talking about Night Elf. So the Night Elf Charger has got to be an Elune theme Holy Nightsaber. Alright? So it'd be blue, and it would look sweet. Alright? And let me tell you, that would be something else. Alright? Now let's move on. 2. On my list is Worgen. So for a Worgen Charger, I imagined here, like imagine a more, because Worgen horses are the unarmored, strong horses. So what I imagined is like maybe a thicker, gothic armored theme charger, like a Crusader horse, like a big, thick Crusader horse for a charger for Worgen. I think that would be super cool. Alright? And then for Worgen, lore-wise, they could be members of the Church of Holy Light. You know, Gilneas could have very easily fallen back into the Church of Holy Light. We see their priests that way. Could some have maybe gone Night Elf style? Yeah, but I don't think the brunt of it would be. So that would be interesting to make your personal Worgen look that way. But we don't have to have a ton of, like a whole order of Worgen like that. But it'd be cool to see maybe some of them with Night Elf Paladin NPCs maybe. when we get the Loon style Paladin quest for Night Elves, which I think would be cool. An Loon theme, because that's there would be some Silverhand Night Elf. You know, some of the Night Elves that really like humans. You know, Dealis, Moonfang. But to see them as a Loon warriors, that'd be super cool. Now, next up. Now, this is an interesting one. Void Elves. I'm going to make it simple for you, though. You may be saying, hold up. These Void Elves, how's this Void Corrupted thing going to be a Paladin? I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on. We just had it. Because here you go. High Elf. This is how. You can just be a High Elf. High Elf Paladins are legit. So, I'm going to be real. I think for Void Elves specifically, should we see... Could there be people being full Void Elf looking Paladins with full freaking tentacles, purple, glowing, all that? Yes. Alright, that's fine. But as a whole, I think Void Elf Paladins should just be themed, you know, probably part of the Silverhand, Church of Light. You know, some of them were High Elves, and then you got now legit High Elf Paladins in the Alliance. I think that's perfectly fine, alright? I think that works. You don't have to do the whole Void thing, and I think that they should get their own High Elfin Charger, similar to the Blood Elf one, but blue. And I think that would look pretty cool. Now, could they do another theme for it? Yeah, they could. Very well. Do something else for it. You know? And that would be fine. But I think the Silver Covenant, Silverhand, High Elf would fit perfectly with Paladin. Now, next up, Kul Tiran. What is a Kul Tiran Paladin going to look like? One, they're probably going to be a part of the Church of the Light. I don't see why we wouldn't have had Kul Tiran Paladins. Maybe just being on the island, they're just like... It's weird that they wouldn't have had Paladins, because you would have had to have had one probably sail over. Because the Church of the Holy Light, the Silverhand, were all over Lordaeron. Maybe they just didn't export Paladins, I guess. But you can very easily see one part of the Silverhand, big thick Paladin. And for the Paladin Charger for Kul Tiran, people would say, oh, you could just give them the human one. No. Everyone gets unique. Imagine like I said for Gilneas, you got the Gothic Charger. So for the Kul Tiran, I would want another big thick horse, but with naval themes. Like, oh man, it'd be like an anchor, but it's like a cross, but that's not how the Silverhand looks, so I don't know. But imagine, like, I just put here naval charger, and I can just see like a big thick charger for the Kul Tiran that has like Kul Tiran aesthetics. So like, well, one like the anchor symbol that they use, and probably a little bit of the greenish armor. But I think that would be pretty cool for them. And like I said, they could be Argent, Dawn, Silverhand, just roll into the human aesthetic, because I haven't seen really a unique spin of the light on Kul Tiran, so... Or you could just fall to maybe the Sea Priests and have it, like, if we do ever get class skins, maybe it'd be like a Sea Priest Paladin, but Sea Priests are kind of like Shaman, so it's interesting. They could do some interesting, or they could go with the simple route. I think the simple route would work here. Or they could do something nuanced with them. Now, the final Alliance-specific race, Gnomes and Mechagnomes. Now, I don't see any reason why a Gnome couldn't be a part of the Silver Hand. Alright? Now, we haven't seen it before, but they could very easily join the Silver Hand. Now, if you want to make them more of a... Because the thing with Gnome Priests, because I was reading about Priests when I was doing for this Paladin video, alright? When I was reading about Gnome Priests, they call themselves Doctors, but then some of them do speak of the light. So here, let me bring it up here. Now, I am just going to be reading from Wowpedia. It's a great source. Gnome Priests use, like, Medic, and they've mentioned First Aid, but then there's High Cleric Alphys, apparently. And then Mechagnomes have Priests, but their faith isn't documented. Now, if we really talk about the light, okay, and what it means, the light is about faith in doing what is right. If you have the faith, the willpower, the spirit, because people have linked the spirit to this, and that's very interesting that that's the element linked to this. So the spirit, you can channel that into holy energy. Alright? Now, Gnome Doctors, like, I'm gonna save this man. How do you channel Gnome Doctor energy into a Paladin, since you're gonna be using it to fight? Is interesting. So you can just have them fall. Yo, Silverhand recruiting. Gnome stepped up. You know, that could work. This is another one that could just fall into that. But it would be interesting, especially with Tyr being involved. Maybe we could see them using the light through the Titan lens. Alright, and that would actually be an interesting spin on Dwarf Paladins as well. Alright, them going more pro-tier. The humans are pro-tier too, so the Silver Hand may talk big about the light, but it is all based in tier, and he's the Titan Keeper. So that, I think that would be interesting to see a Titan spin on the Gnome, Paladin, and Priest order here. But we do already see Gnome Priest and stuff. But as far as mounts, alright, check it out. So for the Gnome, I'm just going to default on the Holy Mechanostrider. Alright? Alright, imagine a like a V8 Holy engine. Alright, you put the key in. No. The vehicle starts when you pray. You pray to the vehicle and it's like and then you got that Mechanostrider. The Holy Mechanostrider. And then for Mechagnomes, my idea was either a Holy Mecha Spider or the Holy Big Wheel. Imagine like one of the wheels, the mechanocycles, but with like a holy aura around it. I think that would look sick. Now, which they choose, you know, maybe there's better options too, but I think that would be cool. Alright, I think that those mounts for Mechagnomes and Gnomes would be cool. Now, that got most of the Alliance races done. So let's talk about the one race that can go both ways that we can see being Paladin for right now. Drakthir may have to wait. Though maybe I'll try to do Drakthir at the end. But let's get to Pandas. So Pandas have been priests for a while. Now, I did. Yeah, Worgen Priests of the Light. Yeah, I read that. Now, where were Pandas? Did I even read about Pandas? Oh. Yeah, so Panda Priests apparently call upon the light. They refer to the light, so they don't actually refer to one of the August Celestials. So you could just get the normal, I believe in the light, I'm a paladin now. But what I was thinking, interesting. Oh, there's a contradiction apparently on the Wandering Isle. Okay, so let's get into Panda Priest then. I had to read up on that myself. So, some could very easily be a part of the light. I said this could work with any race. Any race could join the Silver Hand, the Argent Dawn, and be a paladin. Is that the most, is that the coolest way to be a paladin? No, but it's a way and it works. Alright? But for Pandaren, what I was thinking is, you see, when you play a monk, right, Chi-Ji is the kind of healer that does other things, alright? And it's based in hope. Anduin has a big tie to Chi-Ji. And then Yu'lon healing is more that green mist and all that good stuff, and is really the main Mistweaver stuff. And I may talk about it in a future video when I do extra specs added of this full Fistweaver monk build using Chi-Ji. But I think it would be interesting for Pandaren priests to use one of the August Celestials. Now, in Hearthstone, Zven the Tiger is linked to Druid. And they all are wild gods. But one of the things I was thinking of is, what if the August Celestials, one of them had light powers? And for me, that would be Chi-Ji, the crane. So, one of the mounts I thought for Pandaren could be a holy crane. Alright? I didn't really think that could work that well, but it could be a thing. Then I thought, okay, what's the Pandaren mount? A turtle. Holy turtle. But I was thinking Swen the tiger. Alright, I'm not probably saying his name right, but that's fine. I was like, man, I would love a holy tiger. This isn't the only race that I put a holy tiger, alright, as the mount, but a holy tiger, because the Shadowfan used tigers. I think that would be a cool mount. But now the more I think about it, and after what I just read, I do kind of want to see a Pandaren priest tied to the August Celestial, but now I think about the best Celestial to go with Paladin, and the one that used similar looking looks, like the golden light, would be Nizao, actually. So imagine a holy ox mount for Paladin, and they use Nizao for Paladin. As this, or they incorporate all four into the belief system for the light, like the full August Celestial, and then they just call upon the light, and then the mount would be a big cool ox or yak, holy yak, or holy ox. I do think they could do some interesting stuff with Pandaren. Would Alliance Pandaren have a different mount than Horde Pandaren? I don't think so. I don't think they would do that. That would be weird. If they did, Holy Ox, Holy Tiger. Or Holy Ox, Holy Crane. Oh man, that'd be weird. If they had different mounts. But yeah, so for Pandaren, they could go with the light theme, as I read here. They could just do that. But it's funny, this person's name is Jojo Ironbrew, and I was like, oh my god, is that Pandaren? Is that Pandaren Jojo? But, so yeah, so Holy Light could just be Church of the Light. Pandaren picked it up from the Alliance, could you have the Pandaren on the Horde pick up the sun beliefs that we're going to get into right now from the Horde? That would be cool too. But I think like a joint August Celestial belief and maybe using the Ox would actually be pretty cool. Now, the more that I thought about it. Now, it's time for Horde. There's 2 races on the Horde that I'm going to talk about. The Holy Tiger Mount. And I'm telling you, one race in all of these has to have a Holy Tiger. We need a Holy Tiger. Alright? But let's start at the top. Orc Paladins. Which is funny, because Paladins were created to fight the Orc Death Knights. Paladins literally created to fight Orcs. Now Orcs will hopefully someday be Paladins. So, how do we get Orc Paladins? And what mount do we use? So, I've been doing reading about the Lokash, which are essentially spirit priests for the orcs. Now, I was reading stuff about it, and it does sound like some of it has something to do with the Naru in Oshugun. Alright, the spirits there drawing power from the light of the Naru. But the belief comes from the spirit. The person talks about the spirit within, and that's where they draw power, which, like I said, for light, it requires belief that you are good, you draw the power, and it releases as holy energy. It is really the power of the spirit, you know. So that does work for me, and it does have a little like sun aesthetic, but for this reading, to me it comes through as spirit. So we're going to talk about spirit, like light spirit. So, what kind of mount would an orc have? An orc paladin have? It's got to be a holy wolf. Alright? The sun warg is what I put here. But now I think it'd be more spiritually themed. But yeah, this, imagine like the Kodo, but wolf and orc designs, but have that similar glow, because I like that glow used for the Kodo, because it's more sunny than it is like the clear, like the holy over here, and I think that would be really cool. So imagine a sun warg for normal orcs. And now, while we're on the subject of orcs, Mag'har orcs would be along the same vein. We get the Mag'har paladin. They would get a new term. Instead of Lokash, it's Lakash. How would I say it? I'm probably saying it wrong. Yeah, Lakash. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see a new term for orc paladins as well. And for the Mag'har, so the Mag'har and the orcs do have a similar mount. You know, it's a wolf. But I think that it should also be unique, because the Lightforged Draenei have the goat. Normal Draenei have the elephant. So for orcs, it would be the warg. The warg model we know. And then for the Mag'har orcs, it would use the more advanced wolf, like the full wolf skin that the Draenor wolves have. You know, the warg model is different than the Draenor wolf model, even though they are both dogs. So I think that there should be a difference there in the design as well. And I think that would be cool. Could they have the same mount? You could do it, but I hope that they would each get uniques, like the other races. Now, let's move on to Highmountain Tauren. So, we already see Tauren Paladin. Alright? Now, what kind of paladin are the Highmountain gonna be? I'm gonna be real. The Highmountain Tauren can just merge into the normal Tauren paladin, the Sunwalkers, the Sun Paladin. They use the power of the sun, and rather than a Sun Kodo, we get a Sunwalker's Moose. A holy moose for a holy cow. I think that would look sweet. I really like this. It would be sun-based. You can maybe try to have some Highmountain of their own, have their own thing. Maybe we get a Highmountain quest where a Highmountain does do the whole thing with, because when Tauren priests were added, there was Tahu, Sagewind, and Epona Brightmane. Maybe you have a Highmountain Tauren hang out with Epona, and they discover themselves, and they become Paladin together. Alright, that could be all good too. Or you can just, like I said, have the Sunwalkers have already recruited Highmountain Tauren, because it's been 5 years, and bada boom, we got a Holy Moose Mount and Highmountain Paladins. Alright. Now, next up. Oh, okay, now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Okay, we're going to get to the juicy. I'm going to save some of the juicy ones at the end. So let's talk about Nightborne. Alright. We see Nightborne priests. Alright. We see a lot of Nightborne priests. And it seems that they're Elune based too. So we can very easily take the Elune priest concept, priest paladin, and then merge that to the Nightborne priest paladin, Elune based paladin for the Nightborne. You know, that would be the theme. And the mount would have the blue, more Elune magic. Sorry about that. The more Elune magic. And then that would give us a Holy Mana Saber. Now we have the Holy Night Saber. Now we have the Holy Mana Saber. So it'd be purpley and blue, but then like the... Maybe you would have to give it a little bit of gold. Like the gold, the cool goldish effects. Maybe for both just a little bit, so we can tell Paladin. Like it would have to have some of the glowing effects for Paladin. So it's just not another purple-blue mount. Mana Saber. But then give it the armor. It doesn't have to have the gold. So neither does the Night Elf one. If you want the blue full Elune, that's fine. Have the moon symbol. Same thing for Nightborne. Just it'd be on a Mana Saber and more Nightborne aesthetic versus the OG Night Elf aesthetic that the Night Elf one would have. And I think that would work well. You can also, like I said, you can have that Elune based as well, because the Nightborne priests also worship Elune as well. It wasn't, all the Nightborne didn't drop all their religions and be like, I worship the Nightwell. No, they used it as a fountain, and they still kept their old religions as well. So, now we're going to get into one of the juiciest paladins, because when I did research on this was freaking hilarious to me. Goblins. How do we get a goblin paladin? Well, let me ask you this. What's stopping a goblin from doing anything? Nothing. We should have goblin everything already, but we don't. So how do we get goblin paladin? Well, let me just read this. This is from Wowpedia for goblin, and apparently it came from a tweet. Goblins use willpower to wield the light, driven by greed. The greediest goblin paladins, they be like, hey, light, let me cut you a deal. You give me your power, I'm going to be a paladin. I'm going to shoot a little light, alright? Goblin priests, they just like, I'm gonna use healing to get money. Goblin paladins are like, I'm gonna use the light to take money. Alright? You can make it sun-based if you want. Maybe the goblins heard about the Tauren, heard about Anshe, and was like, hey Anshe, let me cut you a deal. Sign the dotted line. And then we get Goblin Paladins, and let me tell you, the Goblin Paladin mount, the holy motorcycle. Amen. Imagine a light-powered chopper, like a motorcycle for the Goblin. They mount up on it, and it's like glowing. Dude, why wouldn't the Goblins use the light? It's golden. It looks like money. It's golden like money. They're like, we want gold. Gold-plated, holy motorcycle Goblin mount would be amazing. Alright? Goblins do what they want. They want money, and they'll do whatever they have to get it. Goblin Demon Hunter, they'll do it. Goblin Druid, they'll do it for money. We should even see Goblin Evokers. Goblin rolls up to Neltharion in the past. Yo, I'll pay you some money. Give me the dragon powers. I want to get more money. Oh my god, that killed me when I read that for Goblin Priests. Alright. Now, I am saving the best for last. But let's talk about Undead. I've already done a whole video on Undead. I see the Undead. I see Kalia, who was trained by Alonzo's Fowl, starting a Order of the Pallid for Undead, which would be their own Silver Hand. I think that would be sweet. Could we see Undead rejoin the Silver Hand? Because the Silver Hand is literally based in Lordaeron. That's where it started. We should see Undead Paladins, you know, and their mount, a holy skeletal warhorse, would be so cool. It could even be somewhat inspired by Sir Ziliak from the Four Horsemen, alright? Because he is a holy Four Horsemen using the light. And he's essentially a Death Knight, but he's a Paladin. He's a Undead Paladin. You know, at that point. Because he's a Death Knight using the light. So, a Paladin. But yeah, so if you want to watch me talk about Undead Paladin, I have a whole video for that. Check that out. Alright? Now, the best for last. Here's the one. This is the one Paladin race that would need a full questline for sure. Because you could say, oh, it's easy. Zandalari Paladins, they use Razan. Easy peasy. Loa powered, lower priests, Loas have tapped into the light. Tyr tapped into the light, Loa tapped into the light. It's not just a Naru only thing. Let's be real. Alright? Now, Hearthstone did it right. They gave Paladin Shirvala. This race, Darkspear Paladins, need the Holy Tiger. Alright? For sure, they need the Holy Tiger. Now, I did skip over Vulpera. I forgot about Vulpera. This can kind of lead into that, because Vulpera could also have a Holy Tiger because of Kimbul. You have Kimbul and you have Shirvala, both Holy Loa Tigers that could very easily give Trolls the Holy Light and Vulpera the Holy Light to wield as Paladins. Now, could Darkspear Trolls have a different Loa that gives them the Holy Light that could be cooler than Shirvala? Yes, but we should still get the Holy Tiger mount modeled off of Shirvala. And the Loa I'm talking about for Darkspear Trolls that could give them the light is Vulgen. I didn't have this written because I was just thinking Loa, but the second I started talking about this, I remembered. Vulpera is the new Loa of Kings, essentially the new Razan. I don't know what he's going to look like. Could he be a Holy Raptor? Could we get a Holy Raptor instead of a Holy Tiger? Yes. But I think one of the Loa involved for Darkspear Paladin should be Vulpera now. Should it also be Shirvala? Yes. If it's not Vulpera and Vulpera's going to be doing some other crazy stuff, that's fine too. But Shirvala and Vulpera are peak for Loa of the Light for the Darkspear Trolls. And for Vulpera, they can also include the Sun. They literally live in a desert. Alright, there's Kimbul just north of them that already pulled in some Tortolan. Could Vulpera have done that? That works. You could also just ingratiate Vulpera with the Sun and the Loa as well, as the Zandalari. And for Vulpera, Holy Tiger. Or I have here Holy Alpaca. Or if we want to go with the racial mount, a Holy Hyena. Which could look interesting. A Holy Hyena could look very interesting. A Holy Alpaca could look interesting. 3 Holy Tigers mounts would be also cool. 3 different Holy Tigers. Oh, so sweet. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the races for Paladin. The mounts I would give them. And kind of the spin on the lore. So if they did add Paladins for everyone, some of the races I would want to see the extra quest on if they add it, if it waits a patch to add it, or if you get the patch with the Paladins. Maybe Paladins get, instead of customizable demons, customizable mounts. Maybe you can decide what Paladin mount you use. That would be interesting. But I do think all Paladins deserve their own unique mount, because that is the key distinct animation you need to do for Paladin. Now, I don't see Paladin coming like soon. The next class I see coming to everybody is Shaman. Alright, I did a video on Shaman. The next one up I can see is Paladin or Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is the wild card, okay? Demon Hunter is the wild card. Evoker is even wilder than that. But I see Shaman next, Paladin, and then Druid or Demon Hunter. Alright? Now, I'm going to head to the Paladin Order Hall. But that is how I see Paladins being added. Maybe a 10.3 with the continuation of the Silver Hand stuff. If Shaman are 10.2, then Paladin could be 10.3, and that would be nice. One of the things I would see them starting to add before they add Paladin is I feel like we'd start seeing mounts added in the data that we can't see. I don't know if people can snoop in to, because if they encrypt it, then we won't be able to see. But I wonder if we'll be able to notice mounts being added that are encrypted, and that may be a hint at upcoming Paladins. Whereas for Shaman, we'd see encrypted totems. But yeah, I definitely think Paladins for All is on the horizon, because they did say all races for all classes. And could they all be Argent Dawn or Silverhand, Argent Dawn, Church of the Light setup? Yes. That would be the generalized, everybody gets Paladins, this is what it looks like. Simple as that. But even if they just added it simple as that, all the races would need their unique mount, and it should be thematic. Alright? And then hopefully later, maybe we get some thematic quests. The thematic quests I would like to see for maybe Pandaren, maybe Gnomes, Night Elves. But one of the main The races I definitely want to see quests for are Undead, Paladins, and Troll. Darkspear Troll Paladins would definitely need some cool quests. Give Orcs a cool quest too. Night Elves, like I said, they deserve a cool quest as well. I know I kind of like threw it off at the beginning, but yeah, Trolls and Undead are top for me. Night Elves and Orcs, you know, have the Nightborne involved with the Night Elf one maybe. Even though they're kind of not being buddies, maybe we see them bridge that gap too. After the whole Legion thing. And then Gnomes. But yeah, I'm excited for all the new race class combos. I do want all races, all classes to all races now. I'm on that team. But take your time. If the class becomes playable before the lore is fully hashed out, that's fine to me. You know, delay the trainers as well, because most major cities have trainers either way. If you want to get the theme fleshed out a little bit more for the trainer, take your time. Next patch will work, because y'all are killing it with adding the Warlock stuff. Minari Eridar are coming. I'm just excited for this across the board. I know this video was long. Thank you for listening to the whole thing. Thanks again. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.